If only I had spidey senses, so I can tell when something's wrong. Oh, and I'm set to protect this heart from breaking into pieces. Where's my hammer? Where's the shield? Oh, the strength to carry the weight of the world. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall.
Now, here's your host, DJ Host with the Most.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode. And I don't know if I'm exaggerating this, but this could be the biggest episode of Snap Decisions. I am your Snap DJ, your host with the most. And man, do we have a lot to talk about. A lot of stuff rolling around and a lot of stuff out there. And we're going to chat about it. And of course, it's centered on one word this week, and that is draft. So, as you know, we were getting a lot of teases and a lot of things that had come out over the past week from Second Dinner, with some kind of funny responses that I put out there. I know one was in reference to Shazam, and the other was in reference to Khan from Star Trek. So all over the place with my responses, but yeah, look, this is an exciting time to be playing the game. The other thing too was the reactions that you really need to look for, and especially those that were on social media, because I've been perusing the socials and I've been looking through all of that, including the Facebook page and the websites and Discord and obviously Twitter and all that. And I'll tell you, a lot of positive reaction and a lot of people who have played this game for a long time that maybe left, that are now looking at making a comeback to the game. And I'll tell you, that's a great sight. That's a great thing to see. And so I think everybody's excited. So we're going to talk a lot about that in the first part of the show. I am going to, if you haven't seen it, there is an article on Gamespot that came out, and I am going to cover that article as we're going through the show, and probably refer back to it. But I'm going to cover that in the opening segment of the show, as we're going through the entire thing here. Among other things, I have other stuff on the agenda as well, and we'll go over that also. I know it's been a while. I've missed you guys. But, again, life happens, and, you can't always, just sometimes you don't get to do things that you necessarily like to do with a lot of stuff going on. But I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to be chatting with you all. So hope you all enjoy the show. And again, I wouldn't be doing this without all of you. So right off the bat, I will just say thank you to all of you who check out the pod, who listen to it wherever it is that you listen to your podcasts, and obviously, and hit up the YouTube page as well. I appreciate all of you for doing that. But on the show tonight, and I just put this out on Twitter. So of course, like I said, we're going to be talking about draft and mostly just covering the GameSpot article. And then we're going to I'm going to just talk a little bit about, because listen, I'm sure that there are some people out there, that have not played draft. If you have only, if you played Snap mostly and haven't delved into other card games, I'm going to tell you why I think draft mode is super fun. And I I had my experience with it in Magic the Gathering, but I stayed away from it for quite a while. I never really did it. And then when I got back into Magic about maybe, it was probably about 15, maybe 10 years ago or so. I got back in after the initial phase that I had, and I would go to booster draft nights, and I had a ball. It was a lot of fun. I actually won my first booster draft tournament that I played. And that's why I've been anticipating this for a long time, and as a lot of other people have. But I'll talk about that. Then, of course, we're going to go to In a Snap, my week in the game. Obviously, decks, variants, bundles, all that good stuff. I'll let you know what I've been playing. And, of course, it includes the Galactus deck, because, it wouldn't be me without it. But to talk to you about what I've been playing, where I am on ladder, all that good stuff, the limited time game mode that I just finished a little bit earlier today. That was for cosmetics primarily, and we'll talk all about that. And then, of course, we will go into Comics Corner, and we will talk about Red Wolf. Now, we couldn't really do Comics Corner on the other guys this month because these characters were directly for this season for Second Dinner. They're not really anything out of the comics. So who knows? Maybe they'll get a comic for the Frontier at some point one day. Maybe an artist will decide to do that. That would be kind of cool. But we're going to talk about Red Wolf. He is very important to the Marvel Universe, and you'll have to stay tuned to see why. And then, of course, we will head over to, and there's a lot here, we'll head over to Minute at the Movies. The Doomsday stuff is flowing just like crazy. There's rumors, there's spoilers from actors, there's all kind of things. There's even a crazy one out there that's saying there's 2 Dooms in the film. I mean, this is the kind of thing we're going to get because nobody really, people really haven't gotten enough, right? Like they saw that last trailer and, you got all fired up, and then you're thinking to yourself, oh man, I got to wait until December. And so, you're going to see this kind of stuff popping up every single day. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about casting and stuff like that, rumors and everything. Now that we got the X-Men cast, well, it's not stopping there. You have rumors about Henry Cavill possibly joining the Marvel Universe and who he can play, or what rumors that people are saying. We're going to talk about a rumor that was maybe not a rumor or maybe a spoiler that was let loose by the actor who plays the Red Guardian himself, and of course Hopper from Stranger Things. Did he spoil something? Did he pull a Tom Holland? We'll talk about that. And of course, we'll talk about other movies and stuff coming up. I saw a trailer for a movie called Whale Fall, which is terrifying, by the way. So lots of stuff going on in the theaters and things like that. Records still being broken by Spider-Man Brand New Day, although it's kind of calming down now, of course. But man, what a box office it had. And the estimates for the Doomsday one are even higher, which is crazy. Like there's people saying 400 million opening weekend, which would be more than a record and absolutely crazy if that happens. I don't know. Did you get your tickets yet? I did. They were out there a couple times already now. And then of course Dune 3 tickets went on sale. And they're doing early screenings for Dune 3, as I'm sure they probably will for Doomsday 2, but they're doing early screenings for Dune 3 that are fetching up to like $50 and $60 tickets, which is nuts. But we'll talk about that. And then of course we have Pixel Perspective. We're getting close now to primetime video game of the year. This is where you're getting around the fall winter season where all the video games like to release their big games now. And of course, you all know I've been talking about this for months. Grand Theft Auto is getting closer. Halloween for me is out on September 4th. That is just in like a couple of weeks. So I am so fired up for that. And they just announced that they have a digital, if you ordered the digital copy, you first of all get early access, and secondly, you get a digital version of the comic along with it, And if you were lucky enough to get the collector's edition, you get the actual hard copy of the comic book. That I think is based on the single player. That gives you the backstory of Michael and like what happened prior to the original Halloween film. Like how did he escape from the asylum? All that kind of stuff is in that comic. So I am super excited for that. Obviously we've got gameplay from Hellraiser. I've seen a little bit of that on YouTube. I also watched the other day the trailer, the gameplay trailer for Silent Hill Townfall, which I won't be able to play. I'm gonna have to watch somebody play it probably on YouTube. I won't be able to play it because it's all first person. But man, it looks great with the fog and stuff like that. It takes place in Scotland. Looks terrifying too. Looks really, really good. So, excited to watch. I'll probably end up watching Jacksepticeye playing that at some point. I've been checking him out. He's finally doing videos again, which is kind of fun. He takes the summers off and everything now, but he's been playing some cool things. So I'm sure he will play Silent Hill. He's played him before, so I'm sure he probably will end up playing that. But yeah, a lot of video games. Obviously, Wolverine is very close to coming out. And then more details are being shared about that. And so it should be a big end of the year for video games and stuff like that. So that is the agenda, and we're going to dig right in, and we are going to talk about the teases that we got from Second Dinner all this past week long. And I'm gonna go over some of them here. The first one we got. This one was, of course, from Marvel Snap. The first pick conversation starts early around here, and you saw Mobius in front of a board with 12 slots on the board, and he's kind of covering up the last two. And then it says, but everyone at Second Dinner is debating about the right answer. So that was the first one. And then I responded to that. Obviously, Mobius is checking out new jet skis. He's going to need something fast with impending doom. I wrote on that one. Then the second one came in saying, tag in here, please, and help us out. We need to figure out the password. Any ideas? So that was the second little teaser we got. And then this one we got here, this one says systems are back online. However, it flags augments, then causes the drive to fracture. We need to regroup them so it doesn't overload. What is the new password? And of course I had to respond to this one. I mean, augments, I said, wait, augments? I got it. It's got to be, and I had to put William Shatner up saying, Khan! Because Khan was an augmentation, right? So, I had to put that in there. By the way, and this is completely off topic, but I saw this YouTube video with William Shatner. Now, I don't know if this is real. You never know, because a lot of this can be AI stuff. I don't know, but it showed him like doing karate stuff on a stage. I don't know if you guys ever saw this, but you have to go look it up. It is hilarious. And even if it isn't him and they're like putting his face over another actor or something, it still is hilarious. Like they show him like karate chopping blocks and breaking blocks and all this other kind of stuff. So I don't know, but I thought it was hilarious. And then I had to share it, and I wrote, this is why he's the legend that he is. And then the last one was, I think this was the last one. Anyway, this was this one, obviously from Marvel Snap as well. It says, the machine had one job all along, and it finally finished. Are you ready? Reminds me of Degeneration X from wrestling. Are you ready? This is the biggest feature we've ever added, is what it said. And then up on the top, I put some emojis. Of course, the explosive head one and the wide open eyes. And I put what? And I put holy moly. And of course, that's just a Shazam reference if you've read Shazam comics. I know that's a Shazam thing, not Marvel, I wrote. So are you excited? See, I had to make a play off of the Degeneration X thing, and I said, are you excited? I got a response from Second Dinner on this one. This was kind of funny. And they said, let's see, they said, not sure if you were asking us, but we're pretty excited about this. And then I wrote this right here. I put the little emoji under that. Some people responded. We got my the old friend of the channel, Burb, is saying, holding any opinions or excitement until I see more, but currently cautiously optimistic. Fiends Firefly says, not excited at all. Skitty says, wish I could be, but how they left Conquest to die, never updated rank, just focus in limited time modes worries me. I don't know. Skitty, I can't disagree with you more there. Look, Conquest died a long time ago. That's not something that they just did or anything like that. If you enjoyed it, I guess I'm sorry, but that's not something that I've enjoyed playing for quite a long time now. And I kind of think that's the majority. I really don't think people love playing Conquest. I lost interest a long time ago. In fact, I don't have a single border. I don't have a single Infinity border. I never wanted to go through the grind just to get one of those because it seemed pointless to me. And it really doesn't bother me. Conquest to me can go away. I don't care about it. That can be gone. And who knows? Maybe if this goes over and draft mode does really well, maybe it will replace it. And I would not be upset about it. Wouldn't be upset about it. And I responded to that. I want to draft forever. Super excited. So we are going to go to the Gamespot article. And look, the best way to just go over this, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to read the article for you guys. So if you haven't seen it, I will read it here. It says, Marvel Snap is finally getting a draft mode, and it's unlike any you've played. Second Dinner is delivering on one of the most requested features for its popular card game, and we have the first details. It's written by Steve Watts on August 21st at 9 a.m. Pacific. All right, so Marvel Snap has been a huge debut success for Second Dinner, the studio created by Blizzard alumni. But if one feature has been missing since launch, it's that mainstay of card games, a draft mode. Snap is finally preparing to launch its own spin on draft with a new mode coming Monday, August 24th. Guys, that's like this Monday. And GameSpot got an exclusive first look. Draft will be a limited time game mode, LTGM, at launch, similar to other modes like Grand Arena, Team Clash, and Sanctum Showdown. That means you'll have tickets to play, as well as a reward track for participating in the mode. And while it's more recognizable within the standard rules of Snap than some of the other modes, it also carves out its own space with some unique twists on the regular rules of a draft mode. When you begin draft mode, you pick a starter for your deck. 3 cards that synergize together from a variety of recognizable archetypes like Ramp, Swarm, Move, Destroy, Control, and Ongoing. So think of it like what we're seeing now, right? With Sanctum and stuff like that, and the pre-made decks. And this is something you kind of have to do, because when I talked to you guys about this months back, and even after that, I said with the fact that a lot of these other games that have consistent draft modes have a lot of cards, a ton, and a lot of them are commons, which are, they're very rampant. They're very easy to get. You get more commons in a pack of cards in Magic than you get anything else. And the rares and stuff, and then the super rares. But, and I said that this could be a tough thing to overcome because you just have so many more cards to choose from. That having just a regular draft maybe wouldn't work because you don't have enough cards to pull from. So this is how, of course, it looks to me like they solved it. So form a variety of recognizable archetypes, ramps, swarm, move, destroy, control, and ongoing. Then you build the rest of your deck with individual card picks categorized into those archetypes. Second Dinner noted that Marvel Snap is an unusually synergistic game, so it needed to make sure players could draft a deck that works well together. That's the purpose of categorizing cards into those specific card pools. Cards have also now been given a rarity status like rare or legendary. That's kind of cool. To help steer how often it will come up as an option in the card selection. I wonder if Galactus will be a legendary. That would be awesome. Or if he's even allowed. My guess is he probably won't be allowed in it. In the mode somehow. They'll eliminate the G-Man. But what could you do? During the initial draft phase, you'll immediately notice that cards here are sometimes a little different than you recognize. For one, they may be given enhanced stats, making them more powerful than their standard incarnations. You can also have duplicates in draft mode. So having a card in your deck doesn't necessarily mean you won't see it as an option anymore. Finally, some cards may be given augments. Powerful upgrades like Quick Draw Discount that reduces the card's cost by 2 on the turn it's drawn. Amplify, which doubles a card's ongoing effect, or Superstar, which guarantees the card starts in your opening hand. So that's cool. You draft until you've made a deck of 10 cards, and then you start battling. You'll play until you either win 5 matches or lose 2. But you do have the option to use 1 respawn token per draft round. As you play matches, you'll get the option to add more cards to your deck, up to 12, or to enhance your current cards with more augments, further empowering you to take on more challenges. I had a chance to go hands-on with the draft mode building decks and battling it out with bots and likely second dinner employees since I wasn't yet in a live environment. And while I've never been too enamored with draft modes in other card games, this one caught and kept my interest thanks to the smart ways Second Dinner has iterated on the concept. And then underneath the picture it says, when building you may see augmented cards like this powered up Juggernaut. The new type categories make a huge difference in building a synergistic deck. Giving you a starter pack with 3 cards really helped steer me towards a particular playstyle, and then it was easy to maintain that with subsequent draft selections. Not every choice was a perfect fit, naturally. In a draft mode, you need some randomness, and things won't always line up. But choosing an archetype as my starter created a North Star for me to follow for the rest of my selections. The new rarity ratings had a similar steering effect, as sometimes I would break from my deck type to take advantage of a powerful legendary card, trusting that its sheer quality would still make it worthwhile. Plus, if a card didn't fit exactly into my deck, I could always bank the chance of outfitting it with a great augment that would make it work. Or I could use augments to turn my already powerful cards into destructive powerhouses. Like any card game, Marvel Snap's draft mode sings when it lets you create unexpected combos that feel powerful and even game-breaking. I'm traditionally a destroy player in Marvel Snap. Ooh, no, bad. So I gravitated toward that for some of my draft matches. I had drafted a Bucky Barnes, which drops a Winter Soldier when it gets destroyed, but then I got the opportunity to augment Bucky with regeneration, giving him the Wolverine-like ability to revive and bounce to a different location with +2 power. That's pretty cool. I cackled at this wombo combo as I repeatedly destroyed Bucky, leaving behind a Winter Soldier and respawning him elsewhere to do it again. After a few hours of hands-on time, I don't think I really scratched the surface of these surprising scenarios. For more insight on Marvel Snap's new draft mode and how the studio iterated on a classic card game type, I spoke with Second Dinner's Sam Stoddard. So here's the conversation. The 2 big pillars of Marvel Snap are ranked mode and conquest, plus rotating limited time game modes. In the foundational stages where you were first conceptualizing having a draft mode, why did you go the limited time game mode instead of trying to make it a third pillar? Stoddard says, part of the reason why is it's taken so long to get draft into Snap is that if you were to design a game where it was basically impossible to do a draft mode, Snap would be pretty high up on the list. Like, it's just got a lot of things that are working against how you would normally do a draft mode. Snap has a much lower number of cards, as I mentioned before. You have very small decks, so even the amount of variance you get isn't super high, as well as the synergy is very high. There's all these things that were really working against it, and it's part of why it took so long to eventually get to a place where we were really happy with what we had as an offering. And so part of the LTGM thing is that we have a lot of known unknowns right now. I enjoy the mode a lot, but I designed it. I talked to a lot of other people who enjoy it, but we definitely need to really test it with a much larger group of people. The thing that we cannot do is change 2/3 of the cards every time we run the draft. There just aren't enough cards in Snap to do that. But we can do things like change which augments exist or change what decision nodes you get, some of the core rules of what you're doing. And so all those options for what we can do, and we really want to make sure that basically whatever we're offering for this mode, it is as fun as possible, and it's not something that's going to become stale very quickly. And that's one of the major things that we're going to find out, I believe, when we launch it. How long are people able to play this and able to reasonably get a lot of enjoyment out of it? Be able to play new games, try different things. There's a lot of things we're just going to learn over time. The writer then asks, so based on how this limited time game mode goes, both with this initial rollout and subsequent versions, is there a chance it becomes permanent? Is that something that you're keeping an eye on? And he says it's definitely something we're keeping an eye on. There are a lot of discussions about that. I'm not sure exactly where we're going to land on it. Certainly there are goals to make sure that Snap as a whole has a lot going on with it and that we have everything that we need. But I think we're just basically going to figure it out over time what the right spot for this is. We'll find out over time what the right exact cadence for the mode is. And then the writer says, Marvel Snap is a very synergistic game, more than even most other card games. And so when making a draft mode, you need to make sure that people can actually build a deck that functions and isn't just like a bunch of random stuff that doesn't really work together. And he says, yeah, this is another big problem when we were designing it, was that is the main problem. I got a Colleen Wing. Okay, well, is that any good? Well, if I don't get at least 3 discard enablers or discard rewards, then no, that card is not worth it. As we were looking at it and trying a lot of stuff out with the mode, that was always the problem. The question I always had was, okay, how do you beat something like Black Panther Arnim Zola? Like you got a 2-card combo that puts out a bunch of power in 2 lanes. How do you beat that? In the regular game? Well, I have different synergies or my deck's trying to do something slightly different. If it's just based on, well, you don't really have a lot of synergy in my deck, it's more based on how strong cards are individually. Then where you're really going to struggle, and just frankly, Snap just doesn't have a lot of cards that are super strong by themselves. They really mostly rely very heavily on synergy. So when I was designing some of it, is we have the ability to add augments to things, make it so that you can take a card that doesn't necessarily fit into your destroy deck and put an augment on it that ties to destroy, and all of a sudden it does fit in your deck. I always refer to it like aim assist, right? You play a shooter on a controller, and obviously you don't have the same level of fidelity as you would on a mouse and keyboard. And so there's a certain amount of aim assist that you put on. So it's like, you don't necessarily want it to be like, oh, it's I can move between my different lock-ons. That's not really fun. What you really want to do is something where I start going down a strategy and it's going to be more likely to feed me cards that are going to play into my strategy and give me some options to pivot rather than, okay, well, your first pick in standard destroy card, and then like I just saw no other destroy cards for the rest of my deck, and now my deck's not very fun. If synergy is the secret sauce of Marvel Snap, that can also get way out of hand if you let people over synergize. Another thing that Snap does that makes it difficult for draft is we don't have hard rarities. Inherently in the game, we've got different series of cards, but that's not really the same thing as card rarity as most games do. So it's actually kind of nice. We got to invent the rarities for cards. And so we got to say, oh, well, this card is common, this card is rare, this card is epic, this card is legendary. And so some of it that we get to move stuff around in rarity. So if we're saying, well, destroy is just too strong right now, we can always move something like Carnage or Venom and go, well, instead of being, a common, now this is going to go up to rare. Or take one of the, this card that was a low rarity just shows up less frequently, and we pick some other card that maybe isn't quite as strong and move it down in rarity so we can kind of try to power balance things that way. That's cool. It would work pretty well. We don't necessarily want every strategy to be equally strong. Some strategies are going to be more consistent. Swarm is a good example of a deck where, as I'm laying out all the stuff, it's like, well, how many cards do we have that are destroy enablers? It's like, well, there's like 10 or something. There aren't that many. Well, how many cards do we call swarm enablers? Well, that's every card in one. That's every card in one cost card. So there's ISO or something. And so there definitely was a lot of, okay, we need to move stuff around and figure out some decks that are going to be more consistent than others. Some decks that are going to be a little more power spiky. Sometimes the strategy is going to play really heavily into one synergy. Sometimes it's going to do different things. It's actually one of the reasons why discard is not in. We found a lot of spots where many of the other decks like Move or Destroy, they could make sense pretty easily. Like if you have like 1 or 2 move cards in the deck, that can still work. Or like, oh, there's some combos and stuff I could do with it, where discard is very much, okay, if you're not really pretty all in on discard, then all these cards are not very good. Then the writer says you could potentially have more than one copy of a card, which is not a thing you can normally do in Snap. How did that come about? And it says, designing the mode, that was always one of the most important things to me, was being able to play multiples of the same card. It evens out a lot of the synergy across different decks, where some decks are going to be more reliant on a small package of enablers and payoff cards. And letting you play duplicates means that you don't have to have the same 3 or 4 individual enablers and payoffs in the same deck. You can have the move deck that is much more based around, I'm going to play 2 Cravens, so I'm going to bounce cards between those 2 locations to get them large, or I've got, multiple man or something like that. That lets you have a lot more variety between the individual games because there are all these duplicate versions of cards. Writer says, for a draft mode to function, you also need a low roll. None of those things really work for my synergy. I guess I just pick one that seems like it's least bad. That's part of how this mode has to function. How did you try to make sure that that element was in there but didn't feel so bad that it's off-putting? Some of that is the augments and giving you opportunities to upgrade cards in ways where you can take something that maybe wasn't very exciting and it becomes exciting. One of the other keywords for me, or key tenets for me on this, was Marvel Snap does a lot of really interesting things for the whole CCG genre. It really tried to turn a lot of things on its head. And a lot of that is the average game length in Snap is just very, very short. That's intentional. It's intentional that it's very mobile first, bite-sized experience. If you play a lot of other draft games, a full draft run, that might take hours. And especially on a mobile, for a mobile game, that's not necessarily a thing we want to sign people up for. So my goal is obviously we'll let you play one game at a time, and you can come back later and finish your draft, but also that the entire time it takes to kind of go all the way in a run should be like under half an hour. And so that also helps out with some of the low rolls. Trying to make sure that the actual experience is fast and fun enough that you are willing to take those risks, because, even if it goes poorly, you're only out a minimal amount of time and you can jump back in and try again. That was really important. And then he asks, I also need to ask, obviously, about the augments. That's a huge element that can almost feel game-breaking. When did that come into the floor of this mode? I'm someone who is a drafter at heart for most card games, so I definitely had in mind, okay, one of the things I want to do at some point is figure out how we get drafting in. And I knew it was going to be really difficult because obviously it's not like the people at Second Dinner had not figured out that drafts should exist. So obviously it was going to be a challenging design problem. And when I first got that ability to really start prototyping it, it was with just duplicates, and that was really it. And so, like, as we were testing it, it's like, okay, there's something fun here, but it's not actually enough. Like, the only way we'd really make this work would be if we have so few cards that you can reliably expect to get duplicates, and then it's like, well, how many times can you really draft the 3-4 deck before that gets kind of old? And so, okay, we're not really quite there yet. Augments came out of an idea, partially just because one of the things that is challenging about getting draft in Snap is that when you do a draft, part of the fun is you get to make a lot of decisions. It was like a smash-up game. Choose deck A and deck B, mash them together, and you've got a deck. Well, that might be a fun experience, but it's not a draft. And as we were testing out drafting, part of the issue was you weren't getting enough decisions to make it really feel like drafting. It was like you got to make a couple decisions, but it wasn't enough. And augments become a way of, hey, what if we added in the ability to kind of like upgrade or change your cards? That goes a long way to giving you more decision space. And also, again, goes into the eventual goal as a live service that we're able to do some changes and have it come back and have it feel different. Being able to change what augments exist goes a long way to, oh, things feel very different this way because now there are more augments focused on some different strategies. Or now some of the augments are more about reducing costs or more about something different. And that goes a long way to having each iteration run it at different times. And each of those runs feels pretty unique without having to reinvent a card pool, which is, again, difficult because there's a small card pool. Behind the scenes, how will that cadence of updating and planning for the next version of the draft limited time game mode work? We've not fully figured that out yet. Everyone is very, very excited about the mode, but we obviously are looking to see how the audience reacts. Whenever I'm designing anything, audience feedback is incredibly important. I don't want to be like the kids are wrong guy, where it's like, oh, we believe in this and we release it and people are kind of meh. And so we're just going to keep releasing it the same way until they realize how good it is. There's a lot we're going to learn. The number of draft games that we played internally is going to be dwarfed by the number of draft games that happen in the first hour that it's live. So we will learn a lot. We're going to learn about how much choosing different strategies plays out. We're going to get a lot of data that way. Definitely a thing that we will be trying to figure out from all the data is what the cadence looks like. It's not going to be too long before it comes back because we definitely have a lot of things that we want to try out. Long term, I think we're just going to have to figure out some of this. How fresh does it stay for the time that it's up? What do we need to do between instances to make sure that it is remaining fresh and that we've got a lot of new stuff to do? We want to make sure that we don't hit a point where it always gets stale because we just don't have enough stuff going on. So we're definitely going to figure out what happens with our initial run. And as we do subsequent ones, figure out what we change between runs. How much does this add to it? The writer says, draft has probably been one of the most requested modes in Marvel Snap, and draft is sort of a standard mainstay of card games, but the way you're implementing it is really surprising. I don't know what I was expecting from draft, but there are more wrinkles in this than I had anticipated. So when you're looking at what the demands have been from the fan base, how do you make sure you deliver while also packing in a bunch of surprising wrinkles that I don't think people are going to see coming? That's been a huge point of discussion between us internally. Does this hit your expectation for drafting in Snap? And certainly we've had versions of this previously where it felt like this does not live up to what my expectations would be, because it's like whether it's just not very fun, or some versions where we've tried two different configurations like, well, what if you started by drafting 3 cards and then you got a bunch of 2-card picks? And then it was like, well, I'm just not making enough picks. It doesn't feel like a draft format. It feels much more like a mashup thing. Certainly some people are going to want a more traditional draft experience, whether it's I want to play more games at a time or I want to play more directly against another person. I'm sure there will be people where this does not necessarily hit exactly what they are looking for. The general hope is that this mode is fun and much in the way that Snap took a lot of things that core CCGs did and turned them on their heads. And there are trade-offs that we made to make it this really fun mobile experience that is very different from other CCGs. If you take all the things that Snap has done that are unique and really think about draft in the same way, what can we do that really makes this unique in a way that lives up to Snap's DNA of the game? And that was written by Steve Watts. A lot of information there. So if you weren't able to read the article, there you go. A lot of backstory there and how they came up with this. And look, ever since they started doing those designer maps and things like that and what's coming up, people have been asking for this mode. They've been asking for a draft mode. And they had heard, very early on that it was always going to be a tough thing to do because of the amount of cards. Sorry, I've got to take a drink, guys. That was a lot of reading. And I've always said that card amounts would be a problem. And I also, and I don't know if it's true, but I also think that's why we were getting so many cards last year. I really do believe that. And also, now the other thing I didn't see in this, and I'm sure we'll get more detail on it as the time grows closer, will it just be cards, or will they have? Now I'm forgetting the name of what we call them. I refer to them as instants from Magic, but they're will it just be cards, or will they have those like techno-organic virus, like things like that? I'm guessing it's probably just going to be cards, because of what they're talking about with the synergies and all that kind of stuff. So the way I would go into this, well, first of all, I'm super stoked about it. I'm excited about it. And like I said, if you just peruse the socials and stuff, I think the majority, and there will always be, look, I'll reference back to a song from the 70s, and you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself. Look, not everyone's going to be happy about this. People have a bad tendency today to be negative about everything. And look, I get it. We live in a place filled with negativity in the United States, and it's just, so it's hard not to. But this is what a lot of people have asked for. They've asked for something different. I'm already seeing some people complaining because it's limited time, and things like that. So, and look, there's going to be people out there that you're just not going to satisfy. You could come up with any mode you want. You're still going to get complaints and stuff like that. And those people are probably people that aren't really playing the game much anyway. Or they do play and they just like to complain. I don't know. You're not going to be able to please everyone. It's going to be the majority. What I'm excited for, obviously, is just being able to play something different in game, other than just ladder. Get away from that a little bit. I think what it's going to do is, I think for those of you who have had troubles getting to infinite, I think it's going to make it easier, because so many people, I think, are going to be playing this limited time game mode. So if you really want to get to infinite and you've had a lot of trouble, I would tell you, play ladder while this is going on a little bit, because there probably will not be very many people that are playing ladder at that point. So you might have a much easier time getting there if that's what you want to do. But look, it's for any card game and stuff like that. You're going to get the naysayers. You're going to get the people that are going to say, "Oh no, this is way too late. I've been done with this game for a while." Okay, if that's the case, why are you even commenting? Why even chime in on it? But I think for the most part, and this is what I'm excited about too, is I've seen people in the socials that are saying that they're coming back to the game. And that is pretty cool, especially some of the content creators that haven't been doing it lately. I saw a comment from Drewberry, who I used to love to watch and enjoy. I saw a comment from Nina, who I had on my show and I used to enjoy watching. So that's cool, right? That's cool. When these people that got away from it are going to come back because of this different mode in the game. I also think it's going to be cool to watch the creators do it. And see them, because you can bet that they're all going to be, when this comes out, they're all going to be playing it on stream. You're going to be able to go. You're going to be able to watch people like my good buddy Glazer and Snap Judgments on his Twitch channel. You're going to be able to watch Binks. You're going to be able to watch Regis Kilbin. You're going to be able to watch all of them doing this. And so if you want to get that's great to go over and check out creators that are game streaming, because you'll get a good idea of what to do and how to play it and stuff by just watching those guys, Dexter and all the rest. I did hear a rumor that some of the people that we haven't seen for forever might be coming back, like Cozy Snap. There's a rumor out there that he might be coming back to do. So look, it's just kind of neat. And it does seem like a lot of people kind of predicted that there was going to be something up with Hell Cow, right? When we were getting Hell Cow this month. So that's more than likely going to be the limited time game mode draft card that you're going to get from that. I'm thinking. I don't know that for sure, but I'm thinking that. But anyway, look, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to play. It's just another thing you're going to be able to engage with other players and things like that. So, and just a little piece for me on drafting. Again, I didn't really get into draft. I tried it on Magic the Gathering's online thing, but man, exactly what they described in this article, it just takes way too long. Way too long. You are sometimes on there, for an hour and a half, and it's just, who has time to do that, sometimes when you're trying to do stuff. So, but I got into it, again, when I got back into Magic for a little while. I'd never done booster draft. That was a thing that wasn't happening. And basically what you do is you'd meet up in the place. You'd have to buy a certain amount of boosters. And you were given, a certain amount of, starter cards and things like that. Sometimes it was a starter deck, and then it was booster. That is, and I played a game, and it was very cool. I enjoyed it. I had a blast doing it, and I really loved the mode. And in fact, like I said, I was playing with my alt, and I went in pretty much blind, and I was playing a vampire deck at the time, I think it was, and I won the tournament. So it was kind of fun. But I liked it. It was the randomness. It was the building of a deck, like what you can build. And of course I built an all black deck, and it worked out. And I ended up winning the whole thing. So, I think it's fun. I think people are on kind of an even playing field, in it, because you're all going to not know what each other has. It's not just a mundane where, we talk all about the meta, right? We talk about the meta in the game and things like that. And oftentimes the meta is not good, right? The meta is not fun. It's dominated by one card many times, where, it was Gambit for a while, and Mother Ascani, and it was Star-Lord when that was, and now it's back to some other things, or it's Thanos, right? It was Thanos. So it all, it does get stale, and then if you want to branch out and you want to play something a little different, you really can't, do that and win on ladder. And I've said that before. It's either, conform, or you're going to lose most of your matches. And so, that's where this comes in, and this makes it fun, because you're going to be able to go in, you're going to be able to, each person's going to get, these different cards and these different augments like they talked about. And so it's a fresh new way, to play the game that's going to make the game more fun. And it's not going to matter so much whether someone is a low collection level player, or is maybe just starting out, going up against someone who is a Golden Gauntlet winner or something like that, because it's generally going to be randomized, and so that's kind of cool. I'm more than excited about it, and it comes out Monday. Luckily, I am off that day, so I'm very happy about that too. I didn't even realize that, so I'll be off, and I will certainly be checking out the mode. And really, if you guys are listening, I hope you're excited. And I think you guys should check it out too. I think it's going to be really cool, to do. And trust me, like I said, it's a lot of fun, and I think that this is going to be as well. So, all right. Well, there you go. That is the opening segment here. That is all about, the GameSpot. I knew I was going to do that. I knew I was going to do that. But that is all about the article, and what that all says. And hopefully you got a little bit of information there if you didn't get to check it out before. But hopefully you got a little more information, about the upcoming draft mode. So, all right. Next up here, guys, we are going to go to, in a snap, we're going to go to my week in the game. So let's head over and we will check it out. Hopefully I don't have the sound on. I don't think I do. I'm looking at Cowboy Thanos' mug with his 6-shooter. And yeah, so all right, let's start with we'll start with where I am. So I'm at 62 on the season pass. So I got done with the initial stuff, and I'm up to 62. I think I did complete it last month. Let's look quickly at the bundles. We have a special offer from Merlin. Disco Inferno with Dazzler. We have a animated emote Fury and Goose. So we have Nick Fury and Goose in a bundle. And they're starting to put emotes in these. So you have a Nick Fury point emote and a Goose emote. Which are kind, and they're the animated ones. They're the new animated emotes. So you have Nick Fury pointing and his hand moves, and you have Goose whose ears are flopping up, and then he kind of like tilts his head and disappears below the thing. So that's kind of neat. You have another animated emote. It's called Death Timer, and this is a death card. And you have her holding the clock, like you're on the clock. Short Fuse Negasonic bundle, new Negasonic card. We have a Fallen Star with Zombie Captain Marvel, a Series 5 pack, and some boosters. Do Not Feed the Flurkin. We have a Goose Wanted poster card, some gold and some other stuff. We have an Archangel, Angel of Ruin bundle. 6,500 gold in an Archangel variant. Special offer with a Premium Mystery variant in gold. The Vibranium offers are up. And then we have, now these are the variants that I've got. This one's new, Vincenzo Riccardi variant. By the way, they did change the way these come up now. So that was part of the patch that they did with the latest OTA, which I was going to go over, but I'm really not going to because it's too long after it now. It's kind of old news and everybody kind of knows what's going on. There were data mines also, by the way, but I'm going to cover those because I knew I was going to talk about the draft thing. So I will cover that in the next one. So we'll talk about the Halloween cards, the vampires versus zombies stuff. So we'll go over those. But I have Vincenzo Riccardi's Death, and of course that is the new Death, which by the way I don't think is very good. I was kind of a little more excited about that when we talked about it before the season started. But it's just not very good. It's okay, but it's just there's a lot you have to do. People compare it to Hella. And I guess it kind of is, but man, it's really a card where you really, really have to strategize and decide how you're going to go about it. But yeah, I just don't think it's very good. There's an Envar anime variant of Killmonger. I have the Cyberpunk Cable, Cyberpunk MODOK. The Jim Starlin comic book variant of Adam Warlock, which is one of the few comic book ones I did not get yet. The Pandart Studio variant of Juggernaut. Wallcrawler, Nightcrawler variant. Chibi variant of Miles Morales. And then here's a section here. Now, these are legacy variants. Purchase variants from Snap's first and second year. So these are old variants. And I have a Negasonic there, the new X-Men variant, Kim Jacinto's Brood, and David Nakayama variant of Okoye. So that's a different section they put up there too. And then, of course, you have the avatars, which, by the way, the last time I spoke to you guys, I got my avatar that I will never probably change. And, of course, it's Galactus. But it also is my favorite Galactus that I had gotten. I think it still is. I change them out from time to time, but I really believe that this is still my favorite Galactus. And this one, I'm gonna have to go look at who did this art. Let me see. Let me pull up. Hold on. I'm gonna pull up Galactus here really quickly. I'm going back to the cards. And let's pull up Galactus. I want to say, is it Kim Jacinto? It might be. Let me see here. Let me see. Pull up my Galacti, please. There they are. Every Galactus in the game, yes, is mine. Flaviano, the Flaviano variant Galactus. I just love the color. And yeah, if I were ever to get an Infinity Border, which I just doubt I'll have that patience to ever do, but if I were ever to do it, that would be the one I'd probably get it on. Okay. Let's go over some decks that I've played. I tried the Death a little bit, and it, like I said, wasn't very good. This one I think is now the automated one that comes up when you put Death in a deck. This is Silver Sable, Iceman, Korg, Nico, Carnage, Firehair, Tombstone, Cassandra Nova, Sage. Cassandra Nova and Sage became like a staple in these Death decks, simply because you're bringing them back and they're just going to get bigger. Cassandra, is going to obviously get bigger, and take, hit your opponent with more negative power. And Sage just gets big every time you use her more than once. And then, of course, Venom, Misery, and Death. It's okay. It's not super fun to play, but the one I've been using the most lately is now this one was from KM Best's Best Decks list, I think. This is Thanos Wiccan, and you guys know I love my Wiccan decks. This is Quicksilver, Domino, Caliban, Jane Foster, the new Psylocke, Copycat, Wiccan, Iron Lad, Blink, Thanos, the Fractured Frontier, Galactus for Steps, and Fin Fang Foom is in this deck as he's starting to appear in decks again. But this one's doing pretty well, helping me climb a little bit on the ladder, and it's been pretty good so far. I've played a little bit of the ramp deck. This is the standard ramp list, guys, except for Fin Fang Foom is back in it now. But it has Lockjaw, it has the new Psylocke in it, Electro, Jubilee, Dragon Lord, Blink, War Machine, Zola, Galactus First Steps, Giganto, Infinite, and Fin Fang Foom. So nothing much new there. I did play a little bit of this one. This is the new Aurora list that has Echo in it and also has Wong. But this is Spider-Ham, Echo, Hydra Bob, Surge, Luke Cage, Awesome Andy, Captain America, Sam Wilson, Venus, Jane Foster, Fractured Frontier, Wong, Thanos, Fractured Frontier, and Aurora. It's pretty steady. Obviously, C3 won the Golden Gauntlet. Not a fan of that. I never, ever, ever get the right cards. When I play that deck, I never get Cerebro. I don't get Mystique. And I always get lands that screw me up. So I am not a fan of Cerebro. I just not a fan. And then I, of course, had to play I played a double Thanos deck. Now this is crazy because you just get so many cards and stuff. But this is King Eitri, Luke Cage, Zombie Mr. Fantastic, Marvel Boy, Cosmo, Mobius, Venus, and Sabanur, Thanos, Fractured Frontier, Aurora, Mockingbird, and regular Thanos. And then, of course, I had to play Galactus because I saw someone play this, I think. But this is old school, man. But this is kind of a combination of like an old school Galactus deck along with the Selene one. So this is Nebula, Selene, Daredevil, Wolverine, Green Goblin, Electro, Wave, Hobgoblin, Null, Galactus, Destroyer, and Death. I can't tell you how many times I won a match with a Destroyer on the final turn because my opponent had negative lanes. Because I would throw like the Hobgoblin in one of their lanes and they just left it alone and it would end up making it negative. So all I had to do, and I would usually have a couple other cards on that lane beforehand, and I would just play the Destroyer, and I would just basically win by winning one lane with the Destroyer at the end, and then winning the other one with the negatives with the Goblins. So yeah, I won a bunch that way. I also won a bunch with a free Death and a Null on the final turn. If you're playing a Destroy list, this is good too. And there are a ton of Destroy lists out there right now, even in the limited time game mode. Of course, you can't play this in there, but if you're playing against a lot of Destroy players, this is a pretty decent Destroy counter because they're going to be destroying everything, which is going to make your Null just as big as the one that they're going to have. It's also going to give you a free Death, which they might have at the end of the game. So you're kind of evening the odds out a little bit. And you're going to have the Destroyer in your hand as well, or able to have that on the last turn. So that may give you a little bit of an edge on them. But yeah, I won some games. I was losing pretty good. And I dropped down to like 92 again. And I thought, here we go. And then I switched to this. And nobody was really prepared for it. And I climbed my way back up to 95, which I am right now, by the way, at 98. I just hit 98. So I am at 98 right now. And like I said, if you are having trouble getting to Infinite this month, I would definitely wait, especially if you're close. I would definitely wait until the draft mode comes out, because a lot of people are going to be playing that limited time game mode. You're probably not going to see much in ladder, and you may even see a lot more bots at that point. So that might not be a bad idea for you in the first couple of days of draft to try to finish out your ladder stuff. When you're done playing, maybe you're out of your tickets for draft or whatever the case might be, you're waiting for tickets, and probably not a bad idea to try to get to Infinite, because that's going to be a good time to do it. Alrighty, let me see what variants I've gotten, and then we'll move forward. So I have, of course, now I just got this one. This is from the daily login. This is the Pandart Studio variant of Loki. I just got that. I got this one just out of nowhere. This is probably a 700 gold rare that just appeared. And this is Sabretooth. This is by Salvador Larraca, variant of Sabretooth. This one is gorgeous. Gorgeous. Creative House Pocket. I know, a lot of people don't necessarily, celebrate their variants and stuff like that. But man, this Fenris Wolf is gorgeous. A rare variant. I got this for free on the ladder, but wow. The green background and stuff like that is just stunning. The artwork in it is stunning. I surrounded it with a gold border, and it's just a beautiful looking card. I finally got this Quinjet variant. I don't have very many Quinjet variants, but I got the 3099 Quinjet variant. I know it's old. I got a wanted poster variant of Dr. Doom, which I was pretty happy with, because now I'm all in a Doom mood after seeing the Doomsday stuff. So I'm kind of in a Doom type mood, and I got a cool new Doom card, so that was cool. I got a Inkpulp variant. Inkpulp's back. How about that? Inkpulp just out of nowhere. He came back and did a Rocket Raccoon variant. So I like Inkpulp's art. And this is very cool. So that is out there as well. It's another rare one, so I got that for free. And of course I got the Thanos Fractured Frontier variant. That's at the end of the season pass. Ladder thing. I got this weird one of Yondu. It's Sam Nielsen's variant of Yondu, and he's holding out two fingers and directing the arrows. It's kind of cool. It's a very different looking one. I got the Hellfire Gala variant of the Scarlet Witch, which is kind of sick looking. It would make a cool comic cover. I got Pandart, The Thing. Of course, that was on the track for a limited time game mode. I got another Scarlet Witch, the 1 million BC variant of Scarlet Witch, so a couple Scarlet Witch variants, and the 1 million BC variant of Giganto as well. I got the Dardo Studios variant of Nebula, which was in that Thanos deck. I also got the Paolo Parente variant of Forge, and I think, let's see it, of course, Red Wolf, we're going to talk about in just a little bit. The Mana Studios variant of Dr. Octopus, of course, that was on the thing. Oh, and the Summer Vacation variant. Oh, I think I talked about this one, but the Summer Vacation variant of Death, I got as well. So they are all the variants I've gotten. And man, I'll tell you, some of the art is so good, in the game. And that, like I said, that Fenris Wolf one just blew me away. And I love the ink pulp stuff too. So very cool, and kudos to the artists. All right. We're going to head over to Comics Corner, and we are going to talk about Red Wolf. You're going to see the significance of Red Wolf, and hasn't been talked about at all before this season. So I'm kind of glad they're giving him his due. All right. So it's been used by, it says, a legacy superhero identity used by several fictional Native American characters in the Marvel Comics universe. So it's been used by different people all throughout the years. William Tall Trees. That, of course, is his name. His alias, of course, is Red Wolf. Another alias is Owe Adada and Tommy Thundercloud. His affiliations and relationships, group affiliations of Rangers, the Texas Initiative. Formerly was in the U.S. Army. Relatives, ancestors, Johnny Wakely. His ancestor is deceased. His parents were Thomas. Father is also deceased. And Rebecca. Father is also deceased. He had another relative named William, who's an uncle, and he is single. He is male. His height is 6'4", and he weighs 240 pounds. Brown eyes, black hair. His origin and living status, he is human, empowered by the wolf spirit, Owe Adada. He is alive, Earth 616, and place of birth is Wolf Point, Montana. His identity is secret. He is a citizen of Cheyenne, and American. Formerly a soldier and construction worker. His education was military training, and his base of operations is in Texas. Creators, Roy Thomas and John Buscema, and his first appearance was Avengers number 80 in July of 1970. So he's been around for a long time. A long time. Again, I was one. So 50, I'm 56, 57 years. 57 years. He has a quote. I absorb the scent of these men. Their clothes, their sweat, their blood. If there is anyone within a 10-mile radius who has come in contact with them, they will have to answer to me. All right. Following the murder of his family by the henchmen of Taurus, William donned the mantle of Red Wolf and took his revenge. When the Rat Pack, under the leadership of the Super Skrull, attacked the reservation of his tribe to steal the mythical artifact called the Soul Catcher, Red Wolf teamed up with Tigra to defeat the Super Skrull and avenge his people. Tigra was in, I think she was in Daredevil, if I'm not mistaken, I believe. Yeah, because White Wolf was in it. No, was she in? Now I can't remember. Tall Trees has a number of adventures over the years, operating solo as part of a short-lived team known as the Rangers. The Rangers operated in the American Southwest and primarily opposed superhuman threats. At the end of Civil War, Tall Trees was recruited into a new formation of the Rangers team, acting as part of the 50-State Initiative program, and was based out of Texas. During the Secret Skrull invasion, it was revealed that Red Wolf's familiar Lobo the Wolf was actually a Skrull and was apparently killed. However, he was discovered alive and reunited with Red Wolf. It's kind of nice. Powers. He has taken up the mantle of Red Wolf and, like the others before him, is spiritually guided by Owe Yodada, a member of the pantheon of gods worshipped by various Native American tribes throughout the West and Southwest. Unlike the others that have taken up the mantle, Tall Trees has been granted various superhuman abilities by the wolf spirit Owe Yodada. His superhuman strength, empowered by his link with Owe Yodada, the overall efficiency of Tall Trees' muscles, connective tissue, and skeletal structure have been increased dramatically. As a result, he possesses sufficient superhuman strength to lift approximately 3 tons. So superhuman speed. He's capable of running and moving at speeds that are beyond the natural physical limits of the finest human athlete. Stamina. As a result of the overall greater efficiency of Tall Trees' musculature, his muscles themselves produce less fatigue toxins during physical activity than those of a normal human. At his peak, he can exert himself physically for several hours before the buildup of fatigue toxins in his blood begins to impair him. Superhuman durability. Talltree's bodily tissue are physically tougher and more resistant to some forms of physical injury than those of a normal human. For example, he can withstand great impacts and blunt force attacks, such as falling from several stories or being repeatedly struck by a superhumanly strong person that would severely injure or kill a normal human. He himself, however, would suffer little to no injury. However, Talltrees can sustain injury from bullets or bladed weapons made of conventional material. Agility, balance, and body coordination are enhanced to levels that are beyond the natural physical limits of the finest human athlete. Reflexes. Reflexes are similarly enhanced and are superior to those of the finest human athlete as well. Acute senses. Senses of sight, smell, and hearing have also been augmented to levels similar to those of an actual wolf. He can see farther and with much greater clarity than an ordinary human. He retains the same level of clarity even in near total darkness. It is also possible that he can see into the infrared edge of the spectrum, enabling him to detect the living being by body heat. His hearing is similarly enhanced, allowing him to detect sounds at much greater distances and to detect sounds that normal humans can't detect. Even at close range, Talltrees can use his highly developed sense of smell to track targets by their individual scent. A master combatant, horse riding, that makes sense, is an extremely skilled horse rider. A tracker, accomplished tracker, indomitable will. As a result of being a tribesman, nearly impossible to be tricked or persuaded into doing something that he does not agree with. His bond with himself is so strong, it is said to block out telepathy altogether. Typically uses a coop stick, which is a 6-foot staff used as a bow or thrown like a javelin. It also uses a flint tomahawk, a large hunting knife, bows, and arrows. William has trained a wolf cub called Lobo to be his companion. So there you go. That is all about Red Wolf. And I told you, again, another one of these early characters that has been around the Marvel Universe for a long time. And so, very, very cool to learn that. And he will really be the only character we're going to talk about in Comics Corner this month, because like I said, the rest of them are although I don't know, maybe we'll do something about maybe we'll do something with Hellcow. That'd be fun. All right, so we're going to go to the Marvel Comics app, which you too can read all of these cool books and all about your favorite Snap characters for just the low price of $9.99 a month. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look up Red Wolf, because many times I will surprise myself and I'll find like their comics in here that I have never indeed read. So, yeah, there's some cool stuff here. The Rawhide Kid, which is a Western kind of a thing. That's I'm sure he probably was in that. Yeah, there's a lot more stuff here than I thought there might be. Red Wolf 2015, so I guess he had his own series. Yeah, he did. Came out in 2015, so kind of like a little redo, so that's cool. That's a 5-issue limited series. Or no, or does it go? No, it goes to 6. 6-issue limited series, so that's kind of neat. Occupy Avengers, using Marvel Comics Presents. Avengers, Occupy Avengers, Marvel Comics Presents. It was in an issue of Doctor Strange, it looks like. And then just some other Avengers, and of course Rawhide Kid. So, pretty cool. All right, we're going to go home. We're going to look at this week's releases. New this week in the app, we have Marvel Meow Infinity Comic is up to issue number 42. We have the San Diego Comic-Con 2026 Wolverine prequel Infinity Comic, and that's up to issue number 5. That's exclusive to the app. X-Men 97 Strike Files. Of course, X-Men 97 is now done. It ended, and was pretty good season. I did like the first season better. There was some cool character cameos in this one and stuff like that, but yeah, it was okay. I wasn't as big of a fan of it as I was the first season, though. We have Peter Parker, Spider-Man Queen's Finest. That's up to issue number 8. We have Star Wars Shadow of Maul. So a new Darth Maul series is out, up to issue number 3. We have Magic and Colossus, up to issue number 4. Black Cat, and of course her own book. That is issue number 10 already. It looks, oh no, that's even further. That's 18, I think. The Mortal Thor is up to issue 10. Uncanny X-Men, issue 28. Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man Venom Death Spiral is issue number 1, so that's a new one. We also have Null up to issue number 5, his own book. Iron Man 2026 up to issue number 5. Doctor Strange up to issue number 6. Wolverine up to issue number 20 of his latest run. Captain America, and this is the newer one, up to issue number 11. Spectacular Spider-Man Brand New Day, issue number 1. Brand New Day. I wonder if it's like, they used to do, and then of course Ultimate Endgame, that's issue number 4. They used to do comic book adaptations, and I kind of miss those. Brand New Day. Spider-Man discovers one of the most valuable items the Kingpin, aka Wilson Fisk, possesses, the lexicon. No, different story. I used to like the movie adaptations. They don't really do them anymore. But I used to like those. I used to collect a lot of the movie adaptations of stuff like, of course, Star Wars, Close Encounters of the Third Kind had a movie comic adaptation. The Black Hole had one. Pretty much almost anything that came out got a comic adaptation way back when. And it was kind of cool. You know, you got to see like some of these cool movies and stuff that you went to see in comic book form. Battlestar Galactica obviously has one. So, you know, it was kind of neat to see those. I kind of do miss them. But in any case, you, like I said, can go and read all about this. But if you can, get to your local comic store and check them out, because they are the best, and they need your business. And it's just cool as anything to go into a comic book store, especially now with all the action figures that are out and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to be seeing a ton more of that. When Doomsday comes around, obviously with all of the toys and everything that's going to bring. So, I did pick up the Marvel Legends figure of Spider-Man from Brand New Day, because I thought that looked really, really neat. So I was able to pick that up, and the Doctor Doom one has been shown, but it doesn't release, I don't think, until around November. So be on the lookout for that. All right then, folks, we are going to head over to a minute, which is going to be obviously longer, at the movies. And we are going to talk all about a lot of the stuff that has been going on in the land of the theater and all of the big stuff that got announced, and everything like that. I don't know if you guys are into Star Trek at all. I don't talk about it much. But listen, Star Trek's another series that I loved as a kid. I watched the originals and everything like that. And I've been watching Strange New Worlds. And I'll tell you, this episode, this week, Strange New Worlds was one of the strangest episodes I've ever seen. The whole crew turned into Muppets. It was the goofiest thing I've ever seen. I have never seen, like, I'm like, am I watching a Star Trek? And the only one that didn't was Spock, which figures, right? Because he's like the logical one, that like the guy who's playing the new version of Spock. But hilarious. And then I found out that Jim Henson's team did the actual Muppets, and I'm like, oh my god, they look all like Sesame Street Muppets, and they did indeed. But it was funny. It was just a fun little watch. And you know, sometimes it's just fun to laugh at things. You know, it's not the most serious thing that's out there, but you know, it was a fun watch. So. This reminded me, I have the graphic for Access Inversion, and of course we will be going over that very soon, because that is our next next season. All right, and then of course, let's see, that's still August. All right, here we go. So, Robert Downey Jr. I've been watching some YouTube videos of Robert Downey Jr. I've always kind of liked him ever since. I saw him in a film called The Pickup Artist. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but if you want to see a very young Robert Downey Jr. and Molly Ringwald was in the film too. It's a fun little movie. It's a fun little movie. It's a good little flick. He's kind of like and they also played an 80s song, which I loved, called Casanova. Casanova. Me and Romeo ain't never been friends. I love it. But that's a fun movie, man. And that's where I got started watching things with Robert Downey. Of course, Less Than Zero. He was in that too. That's another great film. But I've been watching him on some podcasts lately, and just podcasts where he's not necessarily talking about Marvel, but he's talking about his life, his career, things like that. Very, very interesting, and obviously where he's come from and the troubles he's had over the course of his life and things like that. But this is Robert Downey Jr. has revealed that he has seen an early cut of Avengers Doomsday, while the Russo brothers describe hearing the actor's Doctor Doom voice for the first time. So it's just a couple little things. This is during a post-San Diego Comic-Con interview with Entertainment Weekly. Robert Downey Jr. revealed that he has seen an early cut and believes it might be the film that redeems the MCU. He says it's absolutely fantastic. Said the Academy Award winner when asked his opinion on the movie, "I think we may redeem ourselves yet." Any actor sharing praise for their own film should obviously be taken with a grain of salt. But it's interesting that our DJ said that. Look, hey, it's, and the fact that they think they need to redeem themselves, look, sometimes it's good to admit when you haven't exactly been coming out with the best stuff. And I think they've gotten back on the right track. First of all, I've loved the Daredevil stuff. I enjoyed the last 2 seasons of Daredevil. And I thought they were good. I've loved the animation stuff. X-Men, the first season, very good. The second season, okay. I like Spider-Man, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the animated series. And I love Thunderbolts. And I love Fantastic Four. I think they've been mounting a comeback. And of course, Spider-Man Brand New Day just blew me away. I still haven't seen it twice yet, but it has just blown me away and blown the box office away too on top of it. Okay, next up here. One of the most convincing theories about Brand New Day is that MJ is slowly getting her memory. So this goes back to Brand New Day. And if you haven't seen it, which I'm sure most of you have by now, but this is kind of cool. I didn't notice this in the film. Is that MJ is slowly getting her memories of Peter back. First, she draws Peter in his Spider-Man Homecoming suit at her apartment without realizing it. Second, at the end of the film, she touches the necklace Peter bought her in Venice during Far From Home. Third, she's seen returning to Midtown School of Science rooftop in Queens, the exact place where she and Peter used to escape the crowd in No Way Home. I didn't see any of this. I don't remember any of this stuff, so I completely missed it. This is why I have to go back and see it again. And fourth, when Jean Grey freezes her, MJ cries. Jean's power can restore and repair memories. Most likely what she did fractured the spell and is letting them come back. So that's kind of cool. I figured that they would both get their memories back. So that, not really surprising that that's the case. And of course, now this is going into the new X-Men cast a little bit. And of course, all these were announced. Kit Connor, of course, been cast as Scott Summers. And of course, these are not new. This all came from Disney's, from the Disney convention, D23. The ages of the actors. So Sadie Sink, Jean is 24. Kit Connor, Cyclops is 22. Samara Weaving, Emma Frost is 34. And then, of course, now this was when they were still rumored, when Kaylee Spaney was rumored for Rogue, which that is not the case. That is, of course, Indy Navarrete. So this was rumors prior to all this stuff going on. Marvel Studios is reportedly developing 2 special presentations for 2027. So similar to the Punisher one that we just got, and of course, Werewolf by Night. One will be reportedly focused on a solo character. The other is expected to center on a team. See, now I'm up for those. And I know people are, and again, they were saying, somebody was reporting the demise of the TV shows on Disney Plus. In fact, because when they heard Wonder Man got canceled, they were kind of, a lot of people were kind of saying that's pretty much going to be it. They're not going to do those anymore. Not true. One of the things that just came out is that at New York Comic Con, which is coming up soon, I believe in October, they are supposed to have a panel for just Marvel TV. So I'm sure they'll have more from VisionQuest as it gets closer. But they're also supposed to be talking about, I'm sure Daredevil, the next season of that will probably have some stuff to show. But they're supposed to announce some new stuff, which that surprises me. I kind of thought they were really going to get away from that, but now this is talking about special presentations. Maybe that's the way that they're going to decide to go. Next up, we have, that is for Pixel Perspective. We'll come back to that later. Here is the updated Marvel 2028 release schedule. So we've got X-Men, which will be the first one that year. We have Ghost Rider, which will be the second film, and then Black Panther 3, which will be in December of that year. So they are the three that are coming out. And supposedly the rumor is that they are going back to the 3 films a year once we get past next year and Secret Wars. So this is obviously your slate that's going to be coming up in 2028. So that'll be the first year after Secret War. So that's kind of exciting, going back to 3 Marvel movies a year. This is, again, take this with a grain of salt. This is just some rumors about Doomsday, but scenes were added of Steve talking with Pepper and Scott at Tony's funeral. Oh, I'm sorry. This is for Avengers Endgame, the Endgame Encore. So scenes were added of Steve talking with Pepper and Scott at Tony's funeral. Thor and Steve have a brotherly conversation. Loki appears at Peggy and Steve. Okay, this could be some of the post credits. Loki appears at Peggy and Steve's house. He explains that what the Avengers did in Endgame altered other universes because they think they traveled to the past, but they actually traveled to other universes and created a Nexus event. For example, there's a universe where Infinity War won't happen because Thanos died, Gamora disappeared from that universe, and Nebula is dead. Steve moved to a timeline very similar to Earth 616, where we saw the ending of Endgame. There they have a son whom you already saw in the trailer, James Rogers. So, again, take this all with a grain of salt. May not be, true or anything like that. It's pretty much just rumor. Let's see here. Dacker Montgomery, who played the bully brother of, he was the brother of Sadie Sink's character, could be the MCU's new Wolverine. Now that I could see. He's a younger guy. And if they want to go forward with someone that is younger in that role, I don't personally think we're going to see Wolverine for a little bit. And I think that's probably a smart idea. So I don't see that happening for a little bit, but I would be behind that casting. I think that'd be cool. Kevin Feige says that Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin could appear in an upcoming Spider-Man film. Now that was something that never was that they were thinking that may never happen because of the Sony stuff, and Sony owns the character. But now that they're kind of playing nice, maybe we will see Kingpin in Spider-Man. I mean, come on, that has to happen, right? That has to happen. They did show some images. Now, of course, they're talking about the witches, right? Doom's witches. So we have one that's in purple, of one that's in green. And we have one that is in like a gold cape, and a lot of people are deducing who they think they might be. Some are saying that in the purple, it could very well be Clea, because the last we saw her, she was in a purple cape. The one that's in green, some people are saying could be Sylvie. And the one that is in the gold, they're saying could be Scarlet Witch. So the other one is a person that they are referring to as Boris. And Boris is wearing a completely black outfit. So it looks like some leather on the front, some leather bands, brown leather bands. and the mask it kind of looks a little like a hockey mask. You can't really see his eyes, and he has like an air distributor like over his mouth, so you can't see his mouth either, just holes. But the thing that kind of gives it away here a little bit as to who this could be is there is a symbol of a circle in the middle of his other two eyes. Now, we know who developed a third eye, and people are kind of putting two and two together here, knowing that Doctor Strange in the 2015 Secret War was the right-hand man of Doctor Doom, and Boris used to be a right-hand man of Doctor Doom in the comics. So people are kind of saying, is this indeed Stephen Strange and what he is going to look like in Doomsday, or maybe even in Secret War? So again, we don't know, but something that's out there. The first trailer for VisionQuest, of course, debuted at D23. I thought it was very good. I thought it looks really, really good. Lanterns premiered on HBO Max, and I thought it was great. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was awesome. The first episode, very dark, and I thought it was very good. And obviously DC has been struggling a little bit with Supergirl and all of that stuff that came out. I know they didn't get a lot of good reviews for that. I liked it. I thought Supergirl was very good. But it didn't do very well. But this, I think, is going to be really, really good. It started off being excellent. So if you haven't watched it, and if you're a DC fan, check it out. WandaVision, Agatha All Along, and VisionQuest are reportedly essential viewing for Avengers: Secret Wars. Yeah, Marvel came up with an essential viewing list, which includes the X-Men films, the old X-Men, the original Fox ones, X-Men the first one, X-Men 2. Doesn't include X-Men 3. That wasn't great. And then there's a whole bunch of like other lists of things on there that they're telling people they really should watch before seeing Doomsday. This is some comic book news. Marvel and Star Wars having their first crossover, and it's being done by Kevin Smith. I just watched his podcast, and he was talking about it. He's very excited about it, and it comes out next year. So it's kind of a weird pairing. The cover has pictures of Darth Vader and Doctor Doom, Thanos there as well, so that could be kind of cool. Funny crossover. You wouldn't think of something that would come together, but yeah, you never know. Kevin Smith said he had a lot of fun doing it, so something that you could check out in comics. I was going to go over the OTA, but like I said, it's been out forever now, so not really gonna bother to cover that. Here's their list, by the way. So this was what was shown at D23, or this is what they expected to be shown there. The VisionQuest trailer, which we did get, the Doomsday trailer, which we did get, X-Men 97 Season 3 footage. Nope, did not get that. That could come maybe at New York Comic-Con. The movie cast announcement, that certainly happened. Daredevil Born Again will probably be shown in New York. Endgame Encore trailer, didn't get that. New Disney and Pixar animation announcement, first looks, yes. They did the whole Disney, bunch of Disney stuff. They announced a lot. Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is getting a series. That's going to be cool. That's one of the things Disney announced. Among other things, Coco 2, another Frozen is coming out. Trying to think of some of the other stuff. A new Incredibles is coming. I can't remember what else was on there. It's been a little while. Avengers Doomsday has already made over $20 million in domestic pre-sales 4 months before release. That's the biggest pre-sale total ever recorded this far ahead of a film's release date. It's going to be packed, folks. You may want to get your tickets. I mean, you don't have to necessarily, but if you don't, it's probably going to be tough to get in. And it's especially with Doomsday happening and Dune coming out at the same time, theaters are going to be smoked packed. So if you want your tickets, I would definitely suggest, if you can still, pick them up early. Ahsoka Season 2 premieres on Disney Plus on January 20th. They did show the trailer for this at the D23, and I'll tell you, it looked really good. Looked really, really good. I did watch the remake, reshoot, whatever. Not really a remake, but it kind of redid it. X-Files, I want to believe. Chris Carter wanted to do like a director's cut of it. I did watch it. It didn't really make it that much better. I really didn't enjoy that movie that much. It kind of should have been more of an episode of the week than an actual film. And it didn't really do anything to make me like it more. In fact, the ending of the original had Mulder and Scully out on a boat after the movie ended, and they didn't even have that during this. The credit just went to the end credits and blacked out. So, yeah, I wasn't thrilled. But Chris Carter in an interview says still wants to make a third X-Files movie, and he's got a perfect idea for Mulder and Scully. But he also said in the same breath that he doesn't want to interfere with what Ryan Coogler is doing with his X-Files series that's coming out with all new actors and stuff like that. And so, you know, but he did say he still has an idea for the original actors. So we'll see if they ever decide to make a comeback and do their own thing. Incredibles 3 will follow the children in a quest to prove they can be real superheroes. The villain will focus on the idea of how not all superheroes are good. So, of course, that was from Disney Plus or D23. Kingdom Hearts the series, which looks very cool. Coming soon to Disney Plus. That I think should be exciting. The first teaser for Pixar's new original film called Ghost Market. This is kind of a scary one, actually. The supernatural thriller follows a young boy who enters a hidden market that appears to be the crossroad of the living and the dead in theaters 2028. So probably hear more about that, much more about that next year. A new trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4 has been released. So for the video game. New look at Pixar's next film called Gato. This looks very cute. The film follows a black cat in Venice with a love of music who is shunned by locals due to superstitions. So that's some of the stuff we saw at D23. And of course, VisionQuest, the poster came out for that. If you haven't seen the trailer, it's out there. And then, oh God, the Doomsday trailer, oh. My gosh, when he comes flying out of that ship, and I think he was hit with something to knock him out of it, by the way, and he does that landing. Of course, everybody calls it the superhero landing, but in the midair, you see him like transforming in midair. And I think he's transforming because they showed another suit of Dr. Doom at the D23, and it looks much more like passive, much more, and the mask, most believe, and I do too, is the mask that he had taken off when he was sitting with Franklin Richards. So I think it's a much more subdued, less mean looking kind of mask that he's wearing. And that's probably the suit that he's wearing too. What I'm thinking from this is I'm thinking he's going to pretend that he's on the hero's side. And I think when he goes flying out of that ship, I think something may knock him out. Or someone may knock him out when they find out. And then he goes into that, like that darkness. And then that's when he transforms his suit into what he really looks like. So that just could be maybe dark magic that you're seeing there with that black cloud around him. If you haven't seen it, I'll definitely go check it out. But if you haven't seen it, just kind of like stop it when that happens and you'll see what I'm talking about. But man, and then of course the opening scene where he's just sitting on the throne and you see all the runes glowing green like underneath the throne. Oh, just amazing. Samara Weaving cast, of course, is Emma Frost. We know that. Adam Driver cast as Mr. Sinister in X-Men. What a great casting. What a great casting. I think he will play an amazing, amazing version of Mr. Sinister. And cool that we're getting him. Finally someone different. Not just the same old Magneto stuff and the same, cool that we're getting a different villain. Christopher Abbott was cast as Professor X. Don't know much about him, actually. Indy Navarrete has been cast as Rogue. A lot of people up in arms about that. And I just don't understand that. I think that's idiotic. Like, and really the reasoning that they're giving is, well, she's not a Cajun. She doesn't have, who cares? Do you know how many of the actors that act in our films here in America, that don't even speak, that speak mostly like English, the British English, and have a very thick British accent, and you don't even know it. You can't even tell, when they do. So I don't want to hear that. That's stupid. That's just a dumb excuse for people not being happy about someone else they had imagined for the role and they didn't like, but I think she's going to kill it. Kit Connor, of course, as Cyclops. And of course, Maya Boyd. Maya Boyd was a relative unknown, cast as Storm, and she pretty much came like right off of Broadway. So good for her. And then, of course, they had the first look of Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka in Ahsoka Season 2. So Anakin Hayden Christensen is back in it as a Force ghost. Then, of course, they had the whole cast on stage for X-Men. And then they have a date there with the X symbol, of course, 5/5/28. And then the Doom, oh my God, like I said, this trailer, Doom raising up those Sentinels from the ground. Oh my God. And then he says, for I am Doom. Oh my, it's so good. So good. For those people who didn't think Robert Downey Jr. was going to do a good job, you can stuff it. As far as I'm concerned, I think he's going to kill it. And now there's even people that are out there now saying that there's going to be more than one Doom in the movie. That to me is stupid. They're citing Cillian Murphy as I don't even know where they got this stuff from, but so silly. This is from Marvel Insights. It's kind of cool. Here is exactly how Doctor Doom is able to stop Stormbreaker so easily with his 2 fingers. Doom isn't physically stronger than Thor, so how did he stop Stormbreaker with just 2 fingers? So let me explain. In the first image, Doom's entire body covered in black and green energy for a split second, almost as if he's turning into smoke. That's the image I'm telling you to watch when he falls out of that, when he gets blown out of that ship. In the second image, you can see the same black energy flowing through Doom's gauntlet as he attacks Thor. We know Doom's magic is repressed by green, so where is this black energy coming from? Think about Wanda. When she was consumed by grief and started using the Darkhold, we see the corruption spread through her fingers and turn them black. But with Doom, it's different. The black energy just doesn't cover his hands, it consumes his entire body. This could mean Doom is using some kind of forbidden magic. The more power he uses, the more this magic could be corrupting him. That's how Doom was able to stop Stormbreaker so easily. It's not because he's physically stronger than Thor. He's using powerful and corrupted magic fingers to turn in his fingers to turn them back. So that's kind of cool. Cool theory. Which could very well be true. Doom is definitely, he was powerful enough in magic to be the Sorcerer Supreme for a while. So Spider-Man Brand New Day crossed the $2 billion mark globally. Budget was $225 million. Crazy. Highest grossing Spider-Man film of all time. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. People were saying that Marvel was dead. Not quite. Not quite. Ghost Rider will officially release on July 28th, 2028 in theaters, starring Ryan Gosling and directed by Sean Levy. Looking forward to that. Spider-Man Brand New Day has outgrossed Avengers Infinity War at the global box office. It is now the second highest grossing MCU movie. Now, this was a couple days ago. Better look at the Batmobile on the set of Batman Part 2. So they are starting to leak some stuff from Batman Part 2. That is the Pattinson Batman. And I think, got a little bit more. Sebastian Stan confirms that he is indeed playing Harvey Dent. After they were going back and forth, people were saying he was playing Mr. Zsasz. Now, Sebastian himself has come out and confirmed he is indeed playing Harvey Dent in Batman Part 2. And he said, I also can't say anything about the Batman Part 2 by Matt Reeves, where I play Harvey Dent. So there you go. Confirmed by the actor himself. So, yeah. That was the original thought, and now they've gone back to it, where people were just assuming that no, he is not playing that role. And I think, let me see, I think that might be it. I do have a couple little video game tidbits for Pixel Perspective. Rockstar owner Take-Two has confirmed the current November 19 Grand Theft Auto 6 release date is still on track, and insisted the upcoming Grand Theft Auto 6, an extended look on Netflix, will help grow consumers' passion and anticipation for the game. So still on track with the release date there, which is, as some people have said, that is never going to happen. But not true. It is still on track for its release date. Of course, Marvel Tokon came out. I have seen a lot of creators playing that. I did see some people, if you are a horror fan, I saw some people playing early demo versions of Hellraiser, which is first-person perspective, so I will not be able to play. But it looks pretty good from what I've seen them play. And I've also seen people playing the demo for Silent Hill Townfall, as I mentioned earlier before the show, which also looks awesome. But again, I'm going to have to watch somebody play it because I can't hack the first-person stuff in horror games. So I will have to watch them play that. And of course, you guys all know by now, I am anticipating the Halloween game, which is out so soon that I will definitely be playing that. Streaming is still a possibility if I can get everything together and get everything working the way I want it to. And I will stream on my YouTube channel, which has the podcast on it right now. So, all right, guys. I think that's gonna about do it for this one. Let me see where we're at here. An hour and 44. I'm gonna finish a little early. But yeah, look, I had some other stuff I was going to cover, but, like I said, like the OTA and stuff like that, but there's no sense in really doing that. That's been out for a while now. And everybody's going to be really just focused and talking about draft and snap, as they should. It's an exciting time for the game, and exciting that we're getting to see something like that coming to the game. I know a lot of people have asked for it. I've asked for it myself. So I'm very, very curious how it's going to be. I've been having some fun with that limited time game mode, by the way, because those new decks they put in are goofy, but they're ridiculous. The negative one that you could just hide all of the lady bullseyes behind the Wong and stuff like that and just go nuts on your last turn. But I like the one with the complete randomness where you have Ramatut and you have the Kangs. I think that's hysterical. That is absolutely hysterical. I blew up my own board with a Destroyer from a Ramatut the last turn. But I've been having fun with that. I think that's a lot of fun, and that's primarily how I got through the mode. I just think it's laughable sometimes, because it is so completely random. I couldn't be bothered playing like the ongoing one or which other ones are in there? The Destroy. They're just the same old boring stuff that you could play in the game. I wanted something new, something a little bit different, and I really enjoyed that deck. I thought that was a lot of fun. And maybe, who knows, maybe because there were multiples of cards, maybe that was giving us a little bit of a preview, for what draft will be, because again, they had said that there are going to be multiples of cards in there. So maybe that was just giving us a little bit of a preview on how things were going to go. So, all right. Well, again, that is going to do it for this episode of Snap Decisions. Again, don't forget to listen to the other podcasts that are out there, Friends, of course, and the Snap Judgments League of podcasts. Of course, we have Glazer out there doing his daily deck lists on his channel on YouTube. And of course, he does podcasts with creators and stuff like that, usually on the weekends, on Saturdays. And he still does some streaming and stuff like that, where he will stream Snap. He streams some other card games and stuff. So go check out Glazer and subscribe to his channel and all that good stuff. And obviously, still Snap on This is still coming out with the pod. I don't know when they are ending, but I think it's soon. I don't know 100% know, but they are still doing some podcasts, so make sure you check them out. They have a pod out every single Friday, and they do their secret homework, and they talk about, of course, they talk about Snap, they talk about upcoming cards and data mines and all that good stuff. And they make their predictions for the next upcoming season and stuff as well. And if they're doing an episode, I'm sure they're going to be talking about draft. So make sure you check them out also. So, all right, guys. And just one little thing I'm going to add in here. And I'm going to kind of just hype up some of my other projects that I'm going to be doing. First off, congrats to the season pass people that won season passes. I will still be having those to give out when the new seasons start. So make sure that you are following me on X and YouTube and all that stuff. So I will still have those. And secondly, I have my other podcast that I do, which is a wrestling podcast. So if you're into pro wrestling, come check us out. It's called Insiders Pro Wrestling. We've been doing that for, about 7 years now. And we do a show that covers all the companies, a show on Sundays that we do. And of course, we do watch along for TNA wrestling. So if you're into TNA and if you're doing that stuff, come check it out. It's myself and my co-host of the show. His name is Jeff, who used to be a pro wrestler, actually. Did some pro wrestling in the indies and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're into that, come check us out. We've been around for a while, and there is a Twitter account for that, and we're also on YouTube and all that other stuff. And I will be, now this is months in advance. Well, not really months, I guess, anymore, right? We're almost getting to the end of the year. But I will be entering into a new project with my friend Scott, who is, of course, Elevate the Sky, that so kindly does my intro music and lets me use that, the superhero song. When we've done some collabs and stuff together, he's been on a show of mine in the past that I used to do about 80s stuff. And I, I've been on a show of his where we kind of, we did a song. We talked about a song and did that together. Well, we're planning something for next year. We are going to do a movie and music review kind of a show where it's going to be like an hour long, and we're going to take half the show. We're going to review a film that we both either just recently saw or something that we've liked from the past. We both have a lot of the same interests. So like superhero stuff for sure. The Marvel stuff, of course, DC, we liked it all. We grew up on all that stuff. And of course then, maybe some TV shows and stuff like that from the genre. But we'll go over some of that. And then of course we'll pick an album, that we both like. We're both big Kiss fans. But it'll be, some of it'll be like new albums that we just listened to, and some of it'll be stuff that, from the past. So we'll go over that. And, so we're going to start that project. It's called MC2 or MC squared. Because both of our last names have the letters MC in them. And I kind of just thought that would be kind of cool, like a little retro too, because of course MCs for game shows back in the day, that's what we used to call them. So that would just be another little side project that I will get to talk about things that I like. And of course, things like movies, like I talk about on here. And of course I'll get to talk about music too, which, I'm of course a big fan, hence the whole DJ thing. So be on the lookout for just some new stuff coming. And again, like I said, very, very high possibility of game streaming the new Halloween game. If I can get it working correctly and get myself a camera for my PlayStation, I certainly will look into doing that as well. Because it is getting close to that season, right? It's we're getting on close to September, and then it's going to be Halloween before you know it. So, and of course, Crystal Lake will be coming out very soon. In fact, they're having a Crystal Lake panel at New York Comic Con with Linda Cardellini will be there, and of course, the director of the show will be there as well. And so they'll be doing a panel, and they're going to show people a first trailer, which is exciting. I can't wait. And speaking of Halloween, they're also actually looking into making a new Halloween TV series, which is going to harken back to the very first film. So we'll see what happens with that. So, all right, guys, that is it for me. I hope you enjoyed the show. Let me know your thoughts on draft mode, of course, when you play it. I'll be asking you all for your thoughts on it come next Tuesday or Wednesday and get all your thoughts together, because I'll be asking you for them, whether it be in comments on my YouTube channel, or whether it be over on X, or whether it be somewhere else. My Discord is still out there, still alive and kicking. Not too many people in there, but it's still alive. So let me know. I'm really anxious to hear what you guys are saying about draft mode. So after you get a chance to play it for those couple days, I'll put a question out there, and I really hope you answer. I want to read them out loud on the podcast next week. So, and I'll of course give you my thoughts on what I thought about draft mode as well. All right, guys. That is going to do it for me. Have a great rest of your weekend. Please stay safe. Be kind to one another always. And hopefully I will talk to you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. This is your Snap DJ signing off.